Welcome to Megapath Presents. I'm Ronnie Hayes, and today we got another Walking Dead TV show Q&A. Now we're going to dive right into this. If you want to know the rules to participate, go ahead and look in the video description down below. But also, I'm going to do something a little bit different to kick off this Q&A. First off, it's going to be a little longer of a Q&A, probably like 20-25 minutes. I'm not going to have time to do any editing, and I had some work done on this tooth, so my face is probably swollen. Forgive me for that. But the new thing we're going to do for this video, not every video, but this video in specific, I do want to touch on a couple of the recent videos we uploaded on the channel. First thing first, the UK censorship. Now, here's the thing. The stories that I read were from the UK. I'm not picking on the UK solely, I'll tell you this right now. Complainers in the United States, I don't agree with them at all. I do not agree with people saying, hey, you know, here's a horror, here's a gory show, change that gore because I find it to be inappropriate. You know, I do not agree with that. That would be like me saying, I'm not into fantasy too much, so change, you know, Harry Potter, change Lord of the Rings, change Game of Thrones, take that out of there. I don't like the incest and rape, take that out of Game of Thrones. The balls I would have, the selfish attitude, the amount of selfishness in that idea alone blows my mind. I simply go into something. If it's something I'm personally into, I watch it. If it's something I'm not into, I don't watch it. If I scream at something, I'll look away. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I watched the Game of Thrones. I'm not into fantasy. I just kind of let that rock, you know what I'm saying? And then I absorb what I do like with Game of Thrones. So when it comes to shit like that, that is primarily, I did try to make it like a funny triggered, you know, video. Like I made it a little more energetic, I should say. I do that on purpose. That is for some of the humor in it, you know. There was a couple, for the most part, everyone got it. However, there was a couple people who were triggered by my triggered attitude during that video. One person said I was race baiting because I called out the UK. I don't know how that's race baiting. In America, we're a melting pot. I mean, you could be black, Chinese. I mean, you could be anything. You know, if you're American, you're American. If you're from, you know, Thailand or China, you come here, okay, Chinese American, African American, whatever it is. But once you're in America, that's the idea of America. You know what I mean? You're American. So after so many generations, born and raised here after generations, like, you're an American. So American, that's not a race. I don't know where they're going with that, but they tried to make it like the American race against the UK race. And those, to me, maybe I'm wrong. I might see this shit differently, but the UK is not a race. Neither are Americans. So I don't know what you were talking about in that situation. But as far as the outrage, no, don't worry. I'm not going to pick on just the UK. I will definitely pick on US people too. Definitely. Now, to follow up, comicbook.com or something did a video right after I posted that video talking about how they are in fact censoring The Walking Dead now. I don't know if it's thanks to some complaints or something, but in the UK they have something that's called the OFEG or some shit like that, that's similar to the FCC in the United States, but in the UK apparently they are controlled by that organization who says that's wrong, cut that out, edit that blood, edit that gore. So I will leave a link below if you want to hear, you know, the follow-up video that's breaking 2 days ago about how they're editing stuff in the UK. And I've read this a few different articles where they said the first episode was in fact edited. They took out the Glenn saying, I'll find you, shit like that. I strongly disagree with shit like that. Strongly disagree with it. It's simple. If you don't want your children watching it, monitor what they watch. YouTube's a crazy, scary place with kids watching shit. There's people who put up videos for children and they do some really weird shit. Like, my daughter likes watching in blind bag openings and stuff like that, and I have to monitor her every 5 minutes. Yeah, it's stressful. Yeah, it's a headache, but I do what I can. I don't contact YouTube and say, hey YouTube, end this now. No, I do my job as a parent, and I'm like, well, listen, this channel, that's a no-no, you know, and that's my outlook no matter where you're living, you know what I mean? Moving on to the images, real quick, a lot of people said, hey, Ronnie, walkers don't shop, they don't use shopping carts. I cannot believe, like, 12 of you thought I was serious. I can't believe you thought that was serious. And then a lot of people are saying there's a person, a girl to the left. I just saw that as a walker, so I didn't talk about it. To me, the interesting thing is the rubble. It's the place. Because listen to me, those images, I don't know if people caught on yet, they're not random cool images that they say, oh, this looks cool. Those are from filming sites, areas they filmed. Like they filmed at the Kingdom, and somebody, the photographer or somebody on set, took a cool picture of the filing cabinets with grass growing out of it. At the sanctuary, they took pictures of the curtains separating the living quarters inside the big building. That's what they do. They are on set, and they take pictures. They use those images, and this is something new The Walking Dead started doing in season either 6 or 7. This is a new thing they recently started doing, where they would release these images. Like the head that everyone thought were a different villain in the comic book that's not coming for later. That's actually Greg Nicotero's head that they put, not his real head. They didn't cut his real head off. I don't want anyone in the UK freaking out. No, I'm just teasing. But they didn't cut his real head off, obviously. They used his mold from his real head, and that's his head hanging up, the mold of it. And they used that for a production shot because it looks visually, it looks cool. So when I talk about these areas like the ducks, for example, everyone said, whoa, Ronnie, there's no hooks on the ducks. They can't be from a fairground. I'm not talking about hooks. I don't know what you're talking about. I think I do. Like the fishing game, we don't have that. Not at the fairs I went to. We had where it's in a circle, they float in the water, and you just pick a duck out, and it has a number, and that number will tell whether or not you win, like a goldfish or something stupid. I do believe they are using those shots from areas they film at. So that is the most important hint when you're looking at those images. Now, moving on to the Train of Busan. I know this isn't Walking Dead related, but everyone's talking about the Train of Busan with love. Just love and respect. Everyone that I've recommended it to, everyone that has said, oh, I seen this before your video, before your recommendation, I haven't seen one negative comment. I've seen people talk about the good and the bad, but I have not seen one person, not one comment, and that's strong, saying, and there might be a couple saying, no, I didn't like it, but I didn't see them. It was so filled with love for that movie that it's awesome. It is awesome. That is a great movie for anyone who's a fan of the zombie genre. We don't have to watch Resident Evil. Put that shit down, watch Train to Busan, forget about that other shit. That other shit is just to give the producer's wife a job. That's it. Maybe the director, I forget. But Resident Evil solely exists just for her to have something to do. Anyway, let's jump into the Holly death controversy. Now, I wrote this down. The Holly death curiosity. I can't even read my own handwriting. A lot of people are talking about the Holly death. Now, if you're a comic fan, this isn't a spoiler. We're throwing this out there. It's not a spoiler because, one, Holly's dead on the show. She got stabbed by a wolf and she's dead and gone. 2, they did the exact death on Fear the Walking Dead in the first half, towards the mid-season finale of the second season. The first half, towards the end of that in the second season. Had to take a break, face hurts. But a lot of people are asking about this Holly death, and again, what it is in the comic, it's simply a character that started getting built up as if this is going to be a major character, and then she dies in an epic way. And the woman was related to Abraham because this is the real woman that Abraham left Rosita for in the comic. Simply put, they remixed Sasha's character, picking up some of the traits of Holly, especially being in that relationship with Abraham, or that triangle between the Rosita, the ex, Sasha, the current, Abraham, the dead. Rest in peace. Now, when it comes to that death, and this is where the curiosity is, a lot of people are asking if we're going to get it, but the placement is wrong. See, in the comic, it happens once Negan and Rick do not see eye to eye anymore, and Rick is like, listen, Negan, this is done. We're going to fight, To keep it as spoiler-free as I can, I think we all know it's heading towards a war, but to keep it as spoiler-free as I can, that happens once the war is already started. It's in the middle of the war. And on the show, it's looking like a lot of fans are wondering if we're going to get that because of Eugene. A lot of fans were wondering if we're going to get that because of Daryl when he was taken. Maybe, what about Maggie? She was one that Negan thinks is dead. Is she going to, and I know that's a stretch, but a lot of fans are going, is it this person? Is it this person? Every time somebody has a moment with Negan, they are the next Holly death. We get that a lot. I think Tara, Rosita, Sasha, and Daryl are the top ones. Is it 4? Tara, Sasha, Rosita, Daryl. The top 4 that everyone keeps picking for the Holly death. Now, the thing with the death, if they remixed it like they remixed Eugene being taken earlier, they might in fact put this death before the war. Like some shit might pop off war-wise. Negan might be like, you know what, Negan and Rick have a falling out, and then before the war even pops off, Negan could bring the person back and be like, you know what, Rick, we had a stumble step, okay? There's no reason to blow this out of proportion. And this is before Negan even realizes they have weapons. And he's like, listen, Rick, I'm going to return your person. All's going to be well. Let's shake hands and go back to the way it was. You know, you got out of line. I forgive you. Here's your person. See, I forgive you. Here's your person. There's no need to blow this shit out of proportion. They take their person back. Negan and Rick are going to have a talk about this. They reveal the hood, and boom, the character's dead, and they bite another character. Maybe they don't bite another character. But the thing with the death is, yes, you can remix when that happens. So we might get that death this season, which is looking like it's a strong possibility because of one simple thing. The David character. Ooh, is that David? Who's the creepy guy who was really creepy with Enid, with the balloons? That guy. They set that up this season. It's likely they're going to have the payoff this season. So they're definitely going to take the Holly Death character hostage this season, I feel, because they have that setup. It might be a stretch to set it up now, or it might be too far to set it up now and use it next season. That's too far of a gap. You set it up while it's fresh in the viewers' minds, and the payoff comes while it's still fresh in the viewers' minds. So I do have a feeling they might be doing that this season, so they will be remixing that. So with all the Holly Death curiosity, I do believe there's grounds to discuss that, because yes, they can remix it in a different way, a different time, like they remixed taking Eugene. That's all I gotta say. As far as who is it gonna be, yeah, we have our list. It could be one out of any 4 of those characters. Now, somebody asks about it, so we will get to that when we get to that. First thing on the list going into the questions, Christian V. Will Dwight get in trouble for Daryl escaping? And you want to know if the bad news about the censorship, is that going to be good for the ratings, having more people get curious and check out the show? Well, I don't think Dwight is going to get in trouble because I feel like he wasn't there, so he wasn't responsible. If he was there, well, then again, the bike was there, so why wouldn't he be there? Maybe he was there, but Joey was watching the perimeter, so that's a toss-up. I do think that Dwight might get in trouble, but he might not, depending on explaining how he escaped and all that. Now, when it comes to the bad news / good news on the ratings, yeah, anything could potentially draw in viewers, but I don't think that news is going to draw in enough to have it even show in the ratings. You know what I mean? Like, this isn't the hottest topic in the world of The Walking Dead. This isn't everywhere. This is a couple online news sites here and there talking and discussing and revealing the complaints. So I don't think it's going to prop up the ratings by a whole lot. 06 Mr. Donkey. Daryl for the Holly Death. Now here's the thing. This guy wants Daryl for the Holly Death, or at least he's asking if I think it's possible. Anything's possible, but I will say with this death, it's an epic death for a minor character. It's designed that way. Now, they could definitely put a major character in that position. They could put an in-between. They could put like a Tara character where she is not a major character, but she's been with us for so long that she definitely feels like a respected, familiar face in the world of The Walking Dead. You know what I mean? But the death is so epic, you can take a character who doesn't have a lot of on-screen presence. You can take those minor characters, those secondary characters, and give them that epic death. And that's all you'll think of every time you hear Holly. It's because of the epic death. And that overshadows her relationship with Abraham. At least for me, when I hear Holly, I think of that death and how epic it was. And I think when you have deaths like this, you can utilize minor characters. You don't need a major character. And when it comes to a major character, and I've said this before, I believe, when you have a character like Daryl, he is more epic than that death. So that death would be underwhelming for that character. But that death is not underwhelming for a Holly character. It's not underwhelming for a Tara character. So I do feel like it's a bad fit for Daryl based off that alone. If it's right for the story, fine. But based off that alone, I would avoid that incredibly. Big's Country. Will Carol take Comic Michonne's story? Well, comic fans know all of Comic Michonne's storyline, and I do believe they are remixing a lot of that for Carol. She's obviously confused. She's all about, how she wants to live, how she wants to integrate within the communities. She's obviously figuring things out. Right now, she wants to stay away from people. Comic Michonne was similar to that after this point in time in the comic, but she had a very different reason. She was searching for something. Carol's searching for something internal. Michonne was searching for something external. She was searching for somebody, you know what I mean? So it was very different, and I do believe they're going to do something similar with Carol, just not about external people. It'll be about her learning more about herself if they go down that road. I don't even believe they need to. I don't think they do. The whole Michonne stuff with the boat stuff, they introduced Oceanside to such a fittable degree that we don't need any of Comic Michonne's storyline. We just don't need it. Do you know why it was in the comic? To sell a video game. That's why. We don't need it. It was a little forced in the comic. Why do we need to force it into the show? So I stand behind, we just don't need it. Going on to Esther Simples. I hope I said that right. I wish I could see your fucking face when Beth is alive in season 7. Oh, my mouth hurts. That's so funny. Bye, asshole. Yeah, I don't know where this is coming from, but we're getting more and more people starting to say that Beth is alive, and it's confirmed spoilers. And I'll say that because that is bullshit. Beth is dead, man. She got her brains blown out. She's dead and gone. Rest in peace, Beth. Brian Green, if HBO would have taken Walking Dead, would there still be gore backlash? I put this in here just to answer it simply, yes. HBO has Game of Thrones, and before I started watching Game of Thrones, I would hear news articles about rape and incest and all this backlash. I mean, like, insane. It was like fans were exploding. And then I would see a comment or two that said, there was incest and rape in the very first beginning of Game of Thrones. I can't remember if there was rape, but I think there might have been. There was definitely incest in like the first episode. So it's like, why are fans bringing this up now? You know what I mean? It's part of the world. They'll definitely go there in the story. So why is it such a shocker later on? In the articles, fans were pissed. I don't remember like what areas they were pissed at, but simply put, yes, you're going to have fans complaining no matter where you show this. You can put it on Netflix. People will complain if they find something to complain about. Mark Scott, why would Negan care if Maggie is alive? In my opinion, this kind of feels like because he was lied to. It's about principle only. You know what I mean? Not only that, he showed interest in her. So if Rick is going to lie about that, what else is he lying about? That's not a lie you can keep going and going and going with. So obviously, Negan, if he was smart enough, he would have to know, well, wait a minute. Was he planning on lying for the next 2 years? No. Rick lied because he didn't believe, or maybe deep down inside, he didn't believe that Negan would be around in 2 years for him to have to keep lying about it, Maggie's pregnant. She's going to pop. She's in an area where she might be seen by saviors at any moment. If she was given birth and the saviors showed up, what would she do, So I feel like Negan's smart enough to know that Rick lied because he's a fucking bastard and he needs a Riemann, or he needs to be put in his place, you know what I mean? In Negan's perspective. KCF, how will they get enough weapons? And I think this is interesting because they already showed us the setup with the weapons at Oceanside. Now, we got just that alone. And then they showed us Richard is stockpiling the ingredients to make bombs, like Molotov cocktails. You know what I'm saying? And I do feel like if they are hinting, the TV guide is hinting that the world gets even bigger, and we've seen these images that they're using for promos. The images come from sets that they were at. I think it's telling us that they're setting up and fleshing out how they get guns. It's not just Oceanside, it's Oceanside, it's the Kingdom. The Hilltop might have the blacksmith, they bring in him, he makes the weapons needed so they can stab walkers, stab workers, do it quietly, not workers, saviors, and do it quietly. I think they're setting up all this, and if they do bring in another community, again, that's on the fence because it's like, do we need it? And then if they bring it in, what type of community is this? Is this a community that is like Oceanside and that's been decimated? Maybe they bring in a new community and the shocker is it's only got 7 people. You know what I mean? Imagine the kick in the ass over that. Oh, we got this new community, but it's only got 7 people. You know what I mean? It's like, what? You only got, 10 people or some shit like that? But I do believe that they are setting up where they're getting the weapons from the other communities. Absolutely. Monty, Big Bore, should Rick take the machinery and the bullet supplies and hide them in the woods like Richard, and he can also hide Daryl there? No, I got the. To me, it's implied that this machinery, if you look around, you're not moving that unless you have heavy machinery to move that. I've worked in factories where the machinery alone weighed like a ton. You know what I mean? How are you going to move that? I know that's probably very different than what they're using, but if they're making ammunition to support a mini war, some of that machinery, at least some of it, the stuff that's bolted down, it's going to weigh, a lot, a shit ton. How's that? So I do not believe they can just simply pick up the machinery and carry it outside to the woods. Maybe they can, because people make bullets in their own homes for a hobby. So maybe they can take parts of the machinery and use that. I got the feeling that this was a production shop, and the machinery they were using was for big production, and they can use parts of that to make the bullets. You know what I mean? Robo Soros. They need original season 8 scenes. It's getting too predictable and you think it's hurting the viewer ratings. Well, I disagree as far as it being predictable. I kind of feel like it's supposed to be. They're adapting something from a comic. So again, I am excited to see it adapted. And when it's remixed and remixed well, I'm excited because it's new and fresh. You know what I mean? So for me, it's a win-win either way. I want to see Negan from the comic come to the screen. When they do something different, like take Eugene earlier, when they do something different, like take Daryl as a prisoner, I'm excited to see what they're doing next, what's going to happen. But when it comes to the stuff like Spencer getting killed and gutted, I want to see that played out on TV. So I would disagree. And as far as the viewer ratings, I strongly disagree with that because I think TV-only fans, maybe even TV and comic fans, I think they overestimate how many people read the comics. Did you know that when an issue sells out, I think it's 80,000, something like that. I think when issue 100 sold out, they sold like 300,000, but they had multiple variants and shit like that. If you take the fans, let's say there's 100,000 comic book fans that pick up physical copies in the store. Let's say there's another 100,000 that read it digitally. You know what? I will look and I'll try to put up some numbers of the past few issues. When I did it quick for a video, I think I seen consistently 70,000 that we're getting. I'm going to look and I'll put up the right numbers, but look at this. We got about 30 million fans. Let's say 20 on the low. And that's not viewers. You have multiple fans per household, Households sometimes have 3 or 4 or 5 fans. You have, let's say, a 20 million. Those are fans of the show. And then look at under 200,000 definitely that are readers of the comic book. That's a huge difference. So when you're saying, it's predictable, to who? The extreme minority of fans who have read the comic? Well, I guarantee a lot of them that haven't read the comic, they've definitely heard about it because fans online talk about it. Sure, that's a possibility. I agree with that. I could see what you're saying there. But I don't believe it's that black and white. You know what I mean? That so many people find it predictable that the ratings are taking a blow. Charles F. Which main characters do you miss the most? I think Glenn, because he's like a newer death. Him and Abe, when I go back and watch some stuff, I think I miss them the most. But when it comes down to once characters are dead and gone, I miss Shane. Like, I miss Herschel. I miss some of the older characters, and I miss not having them in the story or see what they would do. But in the same strength, good life, good death with the characters. I don't ever find myself going, man, this would be better with Herschel. Man, this would be better. No, because their stories were told, and I feel like they were told completely. So, it's time to move on. I don't know. That's so weird, but in a way, when I rewatch the episodes, yeah, I miss some of the characters. But if I'm sitting here right now and saying, do you miss them or not? No. For the most part, no. Good life, good death. I'm happy with that. There was only one character here and there where I wanted them to get a better death or an altered death, something a little bit different. Kevin M. Negan's bullet, how does he know it was homemade? Well, I looked online, and I guess there will be like crimps or certain markings on the bullet that will tell you it's a homemade bullet. If that's the case, then there you go, because Negan picks it up and he looks, and he even says something about crimps, I believe. But here's the thing. Would Negan even look? I kind of feel like that's something he might not even look at. Yeah, somebody found a gun. They found a bullet. He didn't make a big deal where she got the gun. Was it hidden? Did she find it? No, they glossed right over that, and they went to the bullet. It was homemade, yada, yada, yada. I kind of feel like, Negan would flip out and start with the gun. Where the hell did you get a gun, you sly bitch? And then the bullet. Maybe like, oh, you only had one bullet? You only found one bullet? And then maybe examine it and then go from there. But bottom line, they wanted to get it in and out and get it over with, so they just had him notice it pretty quick. Moving on to Sketch asked if Daryl and Jesus will be lovers. I kind of feel like this is a baiting question. I see it often here and there, and it feels like the people asking aren't even really taking it serious. If you're taking it serious, simply put, no. There's nothing set up for them to be lovers other than the fact that Jesus is gay, and Daryl originally was supposed to be gay, but they changed that. They confirmed they changed that he's not gay. He's just too busy, and it does fit his character in a way. Daryl has always been too preoccupied with emotions and shit that's going on around him. He doesn't seek attention from females like that, or even males. He as a friend, he doesn't seek that. He's fine just being on his own. But I do believe there's room for a character to enter the show where Daryl can have feelings for. But at this point in time, simply put, no. We don't need it. Right now, it would feel like you're just forcing that in there. Jesus is gay? Cool. Give him a gay character that's somebody from the comic or a new character that is original to the show. Bring him in, set that up, have it somebody who's already at the hilltop. Make it feel like a living community, that this was some kind of flirting that has gone on, in the past previously. Make it feel like a living community where there was stuff actually going on previous to our group getting there. But I don't think they need to make Daryl gay and put him with Jesus. I kind of feel like that is just forcing it into the story. Will Bellick. All 11 dead characters be on the Blu-ray. Yeah, I'm kind of hoping they make a big Blu-ray set. I think we are entering an age where we can cut the bullshit, do a gift set, build up some of the special features within the gift set, and then there you go. Something nice, easy, and simple. You can have a gift set where, for this season, where it's simply a plot of dirt, and that's where you pull the movie out of the box of discs, and then the plot of dirt will be a pole with a head on it. Nice, easy, something cool, maybe a head, and it'll have a fence with a zombie, something like that, some setup like that you can put on the shelf and display. Not a lot of plastic, but it still looks awesome. That's the gimmick. It must look awesome. You don't need a lot of plastic. So then you utilize the space, you focus on the detail, utilized how you saved a lot of space with this, but make it look sexy. That's very, very important. And then when you get the discs and stuff, put bonus features in there like all the 11 deaths. I think they will put them on there, and I'm hoping they do. They gotta put them in there. I feel like at this point in time, it's necessary. Mandy Steven. Does censored TV Negan bother you? No, because, again, we're getting him uncensored on the Blu-ray, which, again, this is problematic, and this is why I'm real curious to see what they're doing with the Blu-ray. If they make two different versions of the Blu-ray, if they make a bonus like $80 version of the Blu-ray, just with jam-packed with special features. For the hardcore fans, I'll buy it. I'll tell you that right now. They try and sell the regular edition on Blu-ray for like $40, $50. I know Fear the Walking Dead is like 45 or some shit like that, and it's barely got any features on it. What are you doing? When you come out with the Blu-ray for season 7 of The Walking Dead, give us the deaths. Give us the full episodes with uncensored Negan. Slap a some kind of gimmicky case, make it a extra bonus for limited for the hardcore fans to get those bonus features or something. I'll buy it. I'll tell you, I'll buy that right now, you know. And again, don't just say, oh, it's just, you know, some curse words. Why would you pay that much? No, you are fluffing the special features up. You got to give them some shit. You got to give them this, give them that. It's like, add to it, make it something that you would want to collect. And this is for the hardcore fans that want to go behind the scenes. Don't give a shit you already post on YouTube. That's one thing that I get mad with stars. They expect people to buy their Blu-ray set, then they shoot themselves in the foot because they post all their special features online. Who the fuck is running the show over there? Knock that shit off. Just stop. Stop putting it on YouTube, or stop charging for it and expecting people to buy it on a Blu-ray. That's dumb. That is dumb. I think the only thing they don't post on YouTube is the commentaries. You want to make money? Make it exclusive. I can't believe I got to lecture people on this. Put it all on the Blu-ray disc. Call it a day. You know what I mean? Finally, Martin Cejak. Any info on the Daryl statue? That's coming out February 2017. I'm not doing any review on it unless, you know, McFarlane Toys sends that. That's a $300 statue, though, so I don't expect them to send it. I'm not even asking them about it, and I don't believe they would send it. That is pretty damn expensive to send out. For the TV show, I think it will sell no problem. I don't think they need this channel to advertise it for it to sell and sell out. It looks awesome. It looks incredible. I would love to put it in the background down there, but I can't. I would rather put the money into upgrading the channel. I think that's just more important than showing off some kind of statue at this point in time. I got the lights. I'm going to be getting the new computer set up, but I also got the gaming stuff, and I'm buying little things here and there to increase the value. All right, I'm done talking. It's your turn. Subscribe, man.